Good morning, class. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2020. Today in math will be on pages 285 and 286. Changing fractions to decimals. To change a common fraction to a decimal, divide the numerator by the denominator. Annex necessary zeros to the numerator. For example, when you have 3/4, remember you divide 4 into 3. Okay, this is where we're going to add our zeros with a decimal. Now divide 4 into 30. We'll go 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. Subtract. You have a remainder of 2. Add another 0. How many times can 4 go into 20? 5 times. So 3/4 is equal to 0.75. Okay, you would do the same thing with 3/8. You'll divide 8 into 3. You'll have to add your zeros in your decimal. 3/8. Divide 8 into 3. 3 times. Another 0, bring it down. 7. 4. Add another 0. Okay, so 3/8 is the same thing as 0.375. Okay, let's look at your chart. Learn these fraction decimal equivalents that are used often. So when you see 1/2, you should know that that is 0.5. 0.5 and 1/2 are the same. 1/4 equals 0.25. 3/4 equals 0.75. 1/5, remember you divide 5 into 10, so it's 0.2. 2/5 is 0.4. 3/5, 0.6. 4/5, 0.8. 1/8 equals 0.125. 3/8 equals 0.375, 5/8 equals 0.625, and 7/8 equals 0.875. All right, let's change these fractions to decimals in number 1. 1a, 1/4 equals what in a decimal? Changing it to a decimal. Good. 1/4 equals 0.25. B, 3/10. Okay. You have 3/10. Remember, you're dividing. So 3/10 is the same thing as 0.3. 1/2. Good, 0.5. 2/5 equals 0.40. Now let's look at E. 7/8 equals what? 8. We'll divide 8 into 7. 8. 64. 6. 0. 8 going to 60. 56. Subtract this out. Add another 0, bring it down. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So 7/8 equals 0.875. 7/20ths. Okay, divide 20 into 7. You know 20 can't go into 7, so you're going ahead and add your .0. 3 is 60. Okay, so 7/20ths equals 35/100ths or .35. G, you have 3/20ths. So go ahead and divide 3/20ths. Okay, so 3/20ths equals .15. H is 9/50ths. Let's divide 50 into 90. That's one time. How many times can 50 go into 400? 8. Good. 8 times 50 is 400. So 9/50ths equals .18 or 1800ths. So that's how you change the fractions to decimals, which is kind of a review for you guys because we've already done that. Alright, so let's look at number 2. This time we're rounding off to the nearest tenth. Remember, when we're rounding a decimal to the nearest tenth, we're looking at the last digit. If it's 5 or more, you cross it out and add 1 here. So 0.58 rounded to the nearest tenth is 0.6. 29/100ths rounded to the nearest tenth. Look at the last digit. 9 is greater than 5, so you add 1 here. So 3/10. It's rounded to the nearest tenth, 0.3. Okay, C is 1.51, rounded to the nearest tenth. You're looking at the last digit. The 1 is less than 5, so we just cross it out. 1.5. Eight and 7/100ths rounded to the nearest tenth. 7 is greater than 5, so you're marking it out and adding 1 here. 8.1 or 8 and 1/10. 6 and 1400ths rounded to the nearest tenth. Your last digit. 4 is less than 5, so you're just going to mark it off. 6.1 or 6 and 1/10. Alright, number 4, you're rounding off, number 3, round off to the nearest hundredth. 3A is 675 thousandths, so you're rounding to the nearest hundredth here. Look at your 5. 5 or more, you mark it off, add 1 here. So rounded to the nearest hundredth, it would be 0.68. B, 0.204, rounded to the nearest hundredth. Look at your last digit. 4 is less than 5, so you'll just mark it out and keep 0.20. C, 1 and 316 thousandths rounded to the nearest hundredth. Look at your last digit. 6 is more than 5, so you add 1 to the number before it, so 1.32. D, 2 and 403 thousandths rounded to the nearest hundredth. Look at your last digit. Good, 2.40. And E, 1.557 rounded to the nearest hundredth. Look at your 7, mark it out. If it's more than 5, which it is, you're adding 1 to the number in front of it, so 1.56. All right, number 4, you're rounding off to the nearest whole number. 13 and 1/4. Remember that you look at the fraction part. If it's less than 1/2, you keep the whole number. So 1/4 we know is less than 1/2. So rounded to the nearest whole number would be 13. 5 and 1/9. Look at the fraction. Is 1/9 less than 1/2? Yes. So you keep the 5. Okay, the next one is 8 and 3/11. Is 3/11 greater than or less than 1/2? All right, it's less than. So you keep the 8. All right, 6 and 7/9. 7/9, is that more than or less than 1/2? It's more than. So you're going to add 1 to your whole number. And then you have 1 and 2/3. Is 2/3 greater than or less than 1/2? It's greater than. So you will add 1 to your whole number. And number 5, read the story problem, circle the estimated answer. Remember, it's not going to be exact if it's asking for an estimated answer. A, Brooke bought 8 yards of cloth at $3.95 per yard. What was the total cost of the cloth? Okay, we're going to multiply $3.95 times 8. Find the answer. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 9 is 72. Plus 4, 76. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 7 is 31. You have a decimal here, so count your decimal places. 1, 2, 1, 2. So if the total cost was $31.60, what can we estimate that to? Okay, we're estimating $32. And B, Aiden bought 1.5 pounds of grapes at $1.48 per pound. What was his change from $5? Well, we have to know how much he spent before we know how much he's going to get back. Okay? So we have 1.5 pounds times $1.48. What is 1.5 into an improper fraction? 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have 3 halves times $1.48. If we divide by 2, 74. Now multiply 74 times 3. Have your decimal here, so $2.21 over 1 is $2.22. Now, this is how much she spent. She gave them a $5 bill. So what is her change, estimated change? You can't take 2 from nothing, so go next door, borrow 1, bring it back. 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 2 is 7, we had to borrow here. $2.78, estimated would be $3. Okay. She spent $2.78, which is about $3. All right, your work for today, on page 286, you will complete all of the problems in the review section. Okay, remember on number 10, you're reducing to the lowest terms. And number 11, order these decimals from least to greatest. Remember when you are comparing, you have to have the same amount of numbers, or same amount of digits. Okay, so your assignment today is page 286. You're working on the review. We'll see you on Monday.